were securing the property, what was the process like? Right, being a foreigner. Tell me about, were there any like red tapes, anything you had to jump over to get it done? Like, what was that process like?
That's a really good
And
question.
how can someone else do it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So actually, purchasing property in Japan
As a foreigner,
is surprisingly easy.
Okay.
Okay. So if you've been living out here for any amount of time and you've had to go to the ward office and you've had to do immigration or any of these lovely things that we get to deal with, you would assume, rightly so, that doing a property purchase or getting up and running a business like this would be difficult. The easiest part of all that was actually the property purchase. Okay? So the most important, if you're interested in purchasing a property, especially if you are looking outside of those urban centers, which I highly recommend, you need to go out and get to know the lay of that land. This is not something that's going to be easily done online like you would be able to do almost anywhere else in the world. You need to go out, get a feel for that community, walk the streets, get the lay of the land, and insert yourself into that community a little bit. Let them kind of get used to seeing you around, and you'll see if you're open and kind and willing to deal with the inevitable microaggression that comes with that. Opportunities are going to open up. So the process for doing that is actually finding this house. I lucked out. Having done what I just described, coming up here, getting to know the community, I actually found a lot of properties that were not listed anywhere. People that were tired of shoveling snow and wanted to, go live with their kids who were living in not such a snowy area or moved down to Tokyo. I found a lot of properties that people were just ready to sell, pretty much right there. This one I actually found online. So this one kind of went against that trend. I found online, I went through a real estate agent and came in, and pretty much as soon as I walked in the door, I said, yeah, this is it. I'll take it. What? Are you sure? I was like, yeah, I'll take it. Now, it didn't look anything like this. We did a massive remodel project over the course of the last 2 years. But I kind of lucked out on this property. So step one, if you're looking to purchase property in Japan, physically go there to wherever you're thinking about buying, go and inspect the house, and just as important, walk the streets, get to know the community, try and get to know people there. Step two, once you decide that you want to purchase that property, you can either go directly to the seller, which is a little bit more difficult, especially if they don't know you, or you can contact the local real estate agent. And even, now here's a little secret, even if the property's not for sale, you find a nice house, you can go to a real estate agent and say, hey, I'm really interested in this property. The real estate agent can then go and make that first contact with the homeowner and say, hey, I have a potential buyer for your property. Are you maybe looking to move? If so, what's the cost? All right, so step two, you can then go to a real estate agent. Or you can go to what's called a shihoshishi. Shihoshishi is a judicial scrivener. And they're going to be integral to the real estate purchase process. Anyways, they're the ones that are going to make the contract and essentially finalize. They're the governmental entity that's going to finalize that purchase. You can go straight to them and with your seller and say, we want to do a transfer of title. Can we do this with you? And you can actually cut out your real estate agent fee, which will be up to 13% of the property price, depending on what prefecture you're in and what you're doing. Once you do that, it's really about just paying the seller, and you have your house.
So with initial contact, right? Was there any response to you being a foreigner? Or were they asking, okay, do you have this, or do you need this as a foreigner?
No, so actually you can purchase property in Japan even on a tourist visa. You don't need to be a resident in Japan to purchase property here, okay? The thing is, everything else that you need to do to maintain your property, it definitely helps if you have your Zaidu card, your residence card, if you are a officially registered resident in Japan. If you are going to be running what I do, I run what's called a minpaku business, so I'm running a lodging business, then it's possible, but difficult to do that without your residency here in Japan. Mm-hmm. If you do have your Zairyu card and you are a registered resident, then yes, it is a process. That's when it gets more complicated. They'll let you purchase the property, but they want blood if they want to make it easy for you to profit off of it, right? If you have purchased your property and then you're trying to run it as a business like we're doing here, that's where it gets more complicated. They want their pound of flesh to get that running. But in terms of purchasing property, yes, you can definitely purchase property without your residency here in Japan. And,
is it cash or?
Well, it depends on your circumstances. You can get a loan here, and the loans actually are, at a lot of times, like a 0.25% interest, 1.1% interest on the high end. But getting qualified for those loans is very difficult. Really, you'd probably need a Japanese spouse to do that. There's certain banks. I know Shinsei Bank does finance homes for foreigners. But yeah, they're pretty strict on doing that loan. So the best way to do it, because the property prices out here in the Inaka are so depressed, save 5 years. You'd be surprised at the housing prices out here. You can get a pretty decent, ready to live in property for under $50,000 US. I mean, that's with the land included. So it's the opportunity is there if you want to do a cash purchase. It's the easiest way. But there's also financing options out here in Japan as well.
Okay. You said they wanted their pound of flesh.
Yes.
What was the most challenging part of that process after securing the property? Like, what was the most challenging part?
Yeah. So the licensing process here in Japan. This is a licensing process that was developed by the hotel lobby through the national government. The only purpose for that is to make it more difficult for you as an independent lodge owner to compete with the big hotel chains. There's no benefit to the customer, and there's no benefit to the lodge owner for doing this licensing process. So go in knowing that. You go in knowing that I'm about to go through this scavenger hunt gauntlet of bureaucracy. And it's really all they're trying to do is to get you to quit and
dissuade you, eh?
Yeah, to dissuade you. But just stick to it, and it's supposedly getting better, and the process is under review as of this year. We'll see what happens with the.
But for your personal residence, no,
go ahead.
But for a personal residence, it's fine. You can buy a house, you can live in it. It's fine. It's easy.
Personal residence, totally fine. Where it gets more complicated is if you're trying to run a lodge and Airbnb, if you're trying to, host people in that house, then the licensing process is tedious, but not impossible. Obviously, not impossible.